You ever feel like your brain is a browser with a whole bunch of open tabs and you're trying to write but you can't seem to get anything done? This video is for you. Me, I used to be kind of the king of the unfinished project, the writing idea project. I always had ideas, characters, worlds, things that I wanted to try out, but I could never really get anywhere with them. That changed for me when I started using AI tools. Not to take over for me completely, not to take away my creativity, but to help me stay organized, help me stay on track, to actually finish. So I want to talk about that a little bit and how AI allowed me to finally go from just having lots of ideas to finishing 5 novels and self-publishing. Now, me, I've been a world builder kind of since I was a kid. Um, Before I really knew anything about the mechanics of writing, I was creating characters and stories in my head to help me fall asleep. I've always had a busy mind. So storytelling is kind of just part of me. I never had the execution to pull it off, to actually write and finish. I'd get bored, I'd lose track of things, I'd hit a wall and just give up. But by learning how to use AI tools, I was able to change all that, to bridge the gaps between my focus, my organization, my ability to continue, my momentum. I think that was probably always my biggest problem, was just keeping momentum, avoiding frustration and getting bored and feeling like I just can't keep going with this. I would never keep good notes. I would lose track of details. So, once I found an AI tool that helped me, both with brainstorming through free tools like ChatGPT and then a more sophisticated, intentionally built for writing tool like Sudowrite, I was able to keep things organized. And I was able to use the AI as a ghostwriter to get over my issues with actually trying to write prose and other things that I had problems with. I was able to keep the whole project. It's still my story. I'm not giving up my creativity. I'm doing all the editing. I'm directing everything that happens, but it allowed me to overcome significant issues that were preventing me from actually getting anything done. Now, before we keep going, I wanted to ask you a question. What is it that you struggle with the most? What is it that keeps you from writing at all or keeps you from finishing when you have tried to start? Is it boredom, being disorganized, not knowing how to continue? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious how many of you go through this. I'm sure all of us do, but I'm curious what battle it is that you are fighting. So, yeah, I think the real magic came to me when I started treating AI as an assistant, a tool and an assistant. I could use it to brainstorm ideas far quicker than I ever could alone. And best of all, it never gets bored. It doesn't have an ego. It never gets mad if I don't like its ideas. I can just pick and choose bits and pieces that I do like and then build them out into bigger ideas and then flesh all those ideas out until I have enough that I can take it into Sudowrite and actually start writing. There's a lot of problems that a problem a lot of people have with what you can call shiny idea syndrome. The problem is that you start working on one idea and then you hit a roadblock with that idea. So you set it aside thinking you'll come back to it, and then you start on a new idea and you do the same thing over and over again and you never finish anything. And the answer to dealing with that is to remove the roadblocks, the friction that is preventing you from getting past that point where you hit your first roadblock and start to feel like I need to move on to something else. That's when you need assistance. That's when you need something. And if you do not have just the pure bred, trained, whatever it may be, discipline to force yourself to keep going, this is where tools like random name generators for names and AI for brainstorming and even prose writing, if that is something you struggle with a great deal, that is where these tools become invaluable. It allows me to spend my time on the things that I'm good at and can do very well rather than struggling through every sentence and paragraph trying to just find that will to keep going forward. It allows me to focus on keeping the soul of the story and telling the story rather than the work of the story. Which, despite what some people may feel, is not what being an author really is about. You are a storyteller, not a workhorse. You know, maybe some people feel that that is what being an author is about, is being able to write 50,000 words, you know, in a couple of months, or, you know, a whole novel in half a year or whatever, and doing every last bit of it yourself with no assistance whatsoever. But I don't feel that way. I feel that if you are telling a story that is your story, however you get to the finish line, you are still a storyteller. You are still an author. So, if you are struggling to cross the finish line, if you're struggling just to get to the home plate, or the starting line, if you are struggling to get to even the starting line, let alone the finish line, don't be afraid to use tools that are available to you that can help. I've got resources in the description that can help you. Things that I've created, and a link to Sudowrite, all things that you would find very helpful if you are interested in using AI as a writing assistant, a tool that can help you. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Later.